And friends gathering today for a balloon release this afternoon. All pink, one of Brunson's favorite colors. They're remembering her as an outgoing young woman who had a bright future ahead of her. Police say Brunson spent the morning of September 24th, 2022 with Sultan Sharif. MPD believes Sharif killed her later that day. Police say Sharif and another man, Johnny Hopgood, burned her body. Sharif has not been convicted in her murder yet, something that family says is keeping them from being at peace.
In the early hours of September 24th, 2022, a chilling 911 call rang through Milwaukee's emergency system. A witness had spotted a young woman in distress, her voice weak yet unmistakable, pleading that someone had cut her throat. Police rushed to the area, searching for signs of the victim. But after several minutes of canvassing, they reported finding nothing. The call ended. The officers cleared the scene. Hours later, firefighters responded to a car fire in a north side alley. When they opened the trunk of the smoldering vehicle, they discovered a badly burned body. That body would soon be identified as 20-year-old Kania Brunson, a bright, ambitious young woman with her entire life ahead of her. This is her story. A story of warning signs missed, a life cut short, and a community left to wonder how many moments of intervention might have made the difference. Kania Brunson was just 20 years old. Her family and friends remember her as vibrant, funny, and determined to make something of herself. She had recently graduated from beauty school and was also taking classes to become a certified nursing assistant. Her mother described her as someone who loved people, who wanted to help others, and who dreamed of building a better future. She was known to be stylish, often experimenting with hair and makeup. Passions she hoped would one day lead to her own business. Family members said she carried herself with grace, but also with a youthful spark, someone who still laughed easily and dreamed boldly. But her promising future ended violently in the fall of 2022. Just a week before Kania's murder, a disturbing event unfolded. According to the criminal complaint later filed in Milwaukee County, Sultan Sharif, a married man with whom Kania had been in a relationship, placed a call to her mother. In that call, Sharif reportedly said he wanted to end the relationship. It wasn't a conversation between young people breaking things off. It was a direct communication to Kania's parent. Her mother would later testify about this call, and prosecutors pointed to it as evidence of the unraveling relationship that preceded her death. Looking back, it was the first warning sign of the danger to come. In the early morning hours of September 24th, a resident in Milwaukee dialed 911 after hearing a young woman in distress. The caller told dispatchers that the woman cried out, "He cut my throat." Police were sent to investigate. Officers arrived, searched the area, and looked for anyone in need of help. But despite the urgency of the call, they did not locate the woman. According to reports, they left the scene after failing to find evidence of a victim. That was the missed rescue window. Kania was still alive. Someone had heard her pleas, but the chance to save her slipped away. Later that same day, firefighters were dispatched to a car fire in a Milwaukee alley. The vehicle was engulfed in flames. When they opened the trunk, they made a horrific discovery: the charred body of a young woman. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed it was Kania Brunson. The cause of death was determined to be multiple sharp force injuries. She had been stabbed and her body set on fire in an attempt to destroy evidence. From the beginning, investigators suspected foul play. The discovery of Kania's body in a burning car pointed not only to homicide, but to a deliberate attempt to cover up the crime. Police traced the vehicle and began to identify people connected to it. Soon, their attention turned towards Sultan Sharif, the same man who had called Kania's mother a week earlier. When questioned, Sharif's wife initially provided him with an alibi. She told investigators that he had been home with her at the time of the murder. But prosecutors said surveillance video quickly unraveled that story. The footage placed Sharif in locations that contradicted his wife's claims, showing he was not where he said he had been. The criminal complaint laid out the details. The failed alibi, the connection between Sharif and Kania, and the timeline pointing directly to him. Another man, Johnny Hopgood, was also charged in connection with the case. He was accused of harboring or aiding after the fact and with mutilation of a corpse. Prosecutors alleged that he played a role in helping cover up the crime. As the evidence stacked up, the case against Sharif grew overwhelming. More than a year later, in December 2023, Sharif's case went before a Milwaukee County jury. The trial lasted 6 days, with prosecutors presenting a timeline rooted in the criminal complaint, surveillance video, and witness testimony. Sharif's defense attempted to create doubt, pointing to inconsistencies and raising questions about evidence. But the jury was not persuaded. After just 45 minutes of deliberation, they returned with their verdict: guilty on all counts, first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and arson. The speed of the decision reflected the strength of the prosecution's case. For Kania's family, it was a moment of justice, though one that could never restore what had been lost. In February 2024, Sharif stood before a Milwaukee County judge for sentencing. The court heard victim impact statements from Kania's family. Her loved ones described the devastation of losing her so young, the pain of her final moments, and the emptiness left in their lives. Prosecutors emphasized the brutality of the crime, the stabbing, the attempt to destroy her remains, and the calculated lies afterward. The judge sentenced Sharif to life in prison with no chance of release, plus an additional 12 years for the other convictions. For Kania's family, the sentence brought closure in the legal sense, but not in the emotional one. As her mother said outside the courthouse, no number of years behind bars could bring her daughter back. While Sharif received the harshest possible sentence, his co-defendant's outcome was very different. Originally charged with mutilation of a corpse and harboring, Johnny Hopgood eventually reached a plea agreement. In 2024, his charges were reduced, and he pleaded guilty to obstruction and resisting. For many in the community, the contrast between Sharif's life sentence and Hopgood's reduced plea highlighted the complexities of prosecuting secondary actors in violent crimes. In September 2023, exactly 1 year after Kania's murder, her family and friends gathered for a vigil. They lit candles, shared memories, and spoke of her life and dreams. Her family remembered her as someone who was loving, ambitious, and full of promise. The vigil was not just about mourning. It was about reminding the city of Milwaukee that behind every headline is a human being, a daughter, a friend, a young woman who deserved to live. Her case also raised questions about systemic failures. The unanswered 911 call haunted many. Could more have been done that night? Was there an opportunity to save her? Those questions lingered long after the trial ended. The murder of Kania Brunson is not just a story of one crime. It is a reminder of how fragile life is, how quickly violence can erase potential, and how justice, though necessary, can never restore what was stolen. Her dreams of becoming a nurse, of opening her own beauty business, of building a life filled with family and accomplishment, all of that ended on September 24th, 2022. But her name lives on, carried by her family, remembered at vigils, and spoken in courtrooms where justice was pursued. As viewers, we are left to reflect not only on what happened, but on the moments where intervention might have changed the outcome. The phone call to her mother a week earlier, the 911 call the morning of the crime. The witnesses, the neighbors, the community. Each piece is a reminder that sometimes tragedy is not only the result of one person's actions, but also of moments when systems and people fail to act in time. This is the story of Kania Brunson, a life taken far too soon, a family forever changed, and a city left with lingering questions about justice, responsibility, and the value of every human life. If you or someone you know is experiencing intimate partner violence, reach out for help. There are resources, hotlines, and people ready to listen. Because no one should suffer in silence, and no one should lose their life like Kania did.